what's up guys, and welcome back to another video on the channel. Today is not going to be a transfer special video. Now, of course, the season begins in about a week's time, and I thought that why not we do our kind of early Premier League predictions. Now, I might come back to this after the window has shut, but because the season is going to be starting in a week's time, I thought, you know what, let's do it now. So we are going to be doing the early Premier League predictions. So look, don't take too much out of it because a lot of clubs are still looking at signings. For example, you look at Chelsea, what's going to happen in their midfield, you know. So you can't really judge and you can't really make a final call right now. I might come back, and I probably will come back to this in about 2-3 weeks time to make my full Premier League prediction. But here it is, Premier League predictions. Let's start off. Relegation. So obviously, I think the favorites from the bookies will probably be the 3 promoted teams. For me, in 20th, I'm gonna go with Sheffield United. I think, yes, they've got a couple of good players. Yes, they've got Ahmed Hozic, I think it is, at centre back. They got Sander Berge. Striker wise, they don't really have much going forward. And again, to stay in the Premier League, I think most importantly, you need to score. And if you don't score, you need to have a good defense. And I'm thinking to myself, yes, they might have a good defense, but I am fearful for Sheffield United because I don't think they're gonna score enough. I think you need to be able to score enough. And Dai, I'm pretty sure, just left for Marseille, so they've lost a creator and even a goal scorer himself. So where are the goals gonna come from? Because they're realistically gonna get 30 goals, 25, 30 goals next season, which I just don't think is good enough for this, level of the Premier League. So for me personally, Sheffield United bottom. In 19th, yes, I would love to see this incredible story continue, but I'm gonna go with Luton Town. What I do think that they have that Sheffield United don't have is the fact that they've just come up. They were in a League 2 a few years ago, and they've got their way all the way up to the Premier League. Their stadium is literally by where everyone's buildings and houses are. I think the atmosphere, I think the fans will back this team, and this club might just survive, but I just really can't see it. And personally, I'm gonna say that Luton Town are the second team, and the second team promoted to go down. Now, the last spot to get relegated is it going to be Burnley, who also have just promoted. Now, I am fearful for Burnley because yes, they've brought in James Trafford. Yes, their team is good. Yes, they've got a good manager in Vincent Kompany, but of course, the depth in that team isn't the best. And you compare it to other rivals who are going to try to survive, it's not great. But I think that if there's one team, and there's one team that can beat Burnley in terms of the squad quality, but also the squad depth to go down, as of now, I'm gonna say Wolves are gonna go down. And this is my punchy shout. This is my shout that is going to get hate a lot. And this is probably gonna be my most wrong shout. In fact, it's gonna be the one that probably gets the worst, because guess what, Wolves are gonna finish 10th, aren't they, or something like that. But as of now, Nathan Collins has gone, they have not replaced him. Connor Cody has gone, they have not replaced him. João Moutinho, Ruben Neves have gone, they have not replaced him. Them. Jimenez, Diego Costa, they've both gone. The spine of that team have all left. The main part, the middle section of the team, the spine, has left. And what are they gonna do? You know, at the back they've got Nuri, they've got Semedo. Are they, convincing? Are they players that you think, you know what, they're gonna get us through? You know, they've got good keeper, they've got Matthias Nunes, but is he gonna be enough in their midfield? I think they definitely need another midfielder or two. The attack, where are the goals gonna come from? Yes, they've got a couple of good wingers. Adama is left, I believe. Yes, there are wingers, Podence, Pedro Neto, Huang Yichan, Pablo Sarabia. Yes, they are good players, but there isn't a striker in there to finish. I'm not convinced by Matthias Cunha as a player. So I look at that team, and overall, I'm not convinced. I'm just not convinced by this Wolves project. Lopetegui might walk in 6 months' time. In fact, maybe even lesser. I think if the results are, just start getting worse, if they lose their opening game to Man United, which they're probably going to, and then they lose their next 2 to 3 games, maybe I think they go on a losing streak, I think Lopetegui will say, you know what, I'm going to walk away. And I think they'll be left in a serious bit of trouble. I think that as of now, they are the least convincing. They're not as they're more convincing than Sheffield United and Luton, but they are not convincing enough to be lower mid-table. I think Bournemouth are more convincing, Nottingham Forest are more convincing, Burnley are more convincing, Everton are more convincing, and you see these clubs, they are definitely teams that'll probably be down there to fight. But Wolves, they need to get their act. If they can sign a couple of midfielders, a couple of centre backs, another striker, maybe then. But are the finances there? Are they in a bit of financial trouble, a bit of financial crisis? Who knows? But as of now, for me, Wolves go down. That is my, wild card here. I'm gonna go with a wild card, and I'm gonna go Wolves as my wild card to go down. In 17th, I'm gonna go just Burnley. I think they will do it, but I don't think it's gonna be a season that everyone expects that they finish 13th or 14th. I think yes, they've got good players who can get them through. Brownhill in their midfield looking good. Like I said, James Trafford coming in, a solid keeper, the Fire Muric. But overall, it's a good team. I think it's better than Wolves as a unit, as a squad. But I still don't think they will finish, high in the mid-table. I think they will just about survive. Afterwards, you've got a few bunch of them fighting down there, don't you? I'm gonna go with Everton next. And for me, they're 16th. I think Everton will finish 16th. Was it not like the last 2 years in a row that Everton have survived on the last day or something? I think Sean Dyche is, a great manager. He's a man manager, isn't he? Basically, but I like his style of play. Proper Brexit 4-4-2. But I'm looking at the squad that he has, and I'm not really convinced because you've got Dominic Calvert-Lewin up top. You've just brought Danjuma, who is a good signing. I'm looking forward to seeing Calvert-Lewin and Danjuma link up. Who's going to play in the midfield? I think it's going to be Onana, maybe Doucouré. On the wings, Demarai Gray one's out. Obviously, Anthony Gordon has already left. Who are they going to play on the wings? Is it going to be Alex Iwobi? Who knows? At the back, it's part of the main core. I think Connor Cody going is a bit of a loss for them. Tarkowski played the most minutes, I believe. He had a stupid stat that he played the most minutes in the Premier League or something like that, something crazy like that. So Tarkowski, you'll need to rely on him, but you've also got players like Mason Holgate and Ben Godfrey to have to step up. Jonathan Pickford, of course, a consistent keeper. But I look at that team, overall, it needs a bit of upgrading, but I don't think it's going to go down. I think they will stay in the Premier League. I think they will finish above Burnley, but I don't think they're going to finish any higher than any of the other teams that we're going to talk about later on. So for me, that's that. In 15th, I'm going to go with Nottingham Forest. I think they will survive. I think Steve Cooper is quality, and I think he is good enough to keep them in this league as he's already done so. Last summer, they went on a rampage, didn't they? They just signed everybody. This season, Jesse Lingard's left, and it seems like they're not going to go down that route again. They're not going to sign too many players. They're looking at Roger Ibanez, who could go to Saudi as well. He's got a big proposal. I think if they can get someone like Roger Ibanez through, which I don't think they are, I think that would be a signing that would define whether they stay up or go down. I think someone of quality like Roger Ibanez is, incredible. Like, when Keylor Navas came in last January, he sort of, kept them in. They've also got Felipe. You know what? Their signings are actually pretty good, really, aren't they? They're going down this route, signing, top players who might not be that crucial for other big clubs, and just sneak them away. The midfield is a bit of a worry for me, especially in the attacking midfield. Yes, they've got a couple of good players. They've got Morgan Gibbs-White, but are they going to rely on him? Brennan Johnson, is Dennis going to be relied on as well? I'm definitely missing a few players there. I can't remember at the top of my head. What's his name? I can't remember his name. The striker. They do have another striker. I can't remember his name. But these players are going to be relied upon again. So I think if they can get a couple of signings, I think they're safe. 14th, I'm gonna say. I'm gonna go Bournemouth in 14th, and I'm gonna say that because they do look like they've got a good team. They've just brought in that left back. I forgot his name, didn't they? They've brought in, Castrovilli. It looks like Alex Scott might come in as well. So they are clearly improving and upgrading positions that they need. I think they are fine. I think Bournemouth are fine. I personally felt that Bournemouth would be one of the favourites to go down after they sacked their last manager. What was his name? How did I forget Bournemouth's manager last season? Wait, how do I forget? But currently it's Areola, isn't it, or something like that? Who did pretty well at Rayo Vallecano, if I'm gonna say so myself. Because it did, after all, beat Real Madrid last season. So it's Anthony Areola. It was Gary O'Neill who was sacked. But he did pretty well for them. So it's gonna be interesting. After Gary O'Neill was sacked, I thought they were gonna finish 18th, 17th. But they've made a couple of good signings, and Areola, has shown throughout the course of the last few weeks that maybe they are going to be a side that will stay up. And I do think so. So I'm going to say 14th. But in 13th, I'm going to go Crystal Palace. A fairly good squad. Young players. Is Eberechi Eze going to stay? Michael Olise might go to Chelsea. Zaha has already left. The striker situation, Edouard and Mateta, they're not going to be able to score enough goals for this team. Midfield, Doucouré is incredible. Jefferson Lerma, but I still think they need another extra player in their midfield. Defensive wise, Matt Gahey, Joaquin Anderson, great. Terry Mitchell, great. And overall, I think it's a really, really exciting project. It's just how they go out there and how they replace Olise, and is the loss of Zaha that big that they might have a huge drop-off next season? Have they already replaced Zaha? I don't know who they've signed. At striker, I still think they need an extra player or two up front. So they can do better, but I don't think Palace will go down under Roy Hodgson, the GOAT, the OJ. So I think that they're going to finish 13th. They're going to be the last team in the lower mid-table range for me. So, for 8th to 12th, you're realistic looking at a couple of teams in there. For 12th, I'm going to go with West Ham. I'm worried. Not for them to get relegated. No, I think they're good enough to stay up when they've got quality players. I'm a massive fan of Lucas Paqueta. I think a player like him will single-handedly let them stay up. But what has happened to the Declan Rice replacement, boys? Now, reports this week coming out saying that they are interested in Edson Alvarez. That's a great signing. Go out there, get Edson Alvarez through the door, please. Thank you very much. But you still need another midfielder because Alvarez, maybe defensively, he can do what Rice gave, but dribbling numbers, he's nowhere near the quality of Declan Rice. If you go and look at his dribble stats, his numbers, and even seen him play, because you can't really judge based on numbers, but if you've seen him play, he's not going to be a player that is going to be a Declan Rice out and out replacement. So where is the other replacement? You need another midfielder, because realistically, one player is not going to be able to replace Declan Rice, because Declan Rice is an extraordinary player. Let's be honest here. Except for that, striker-wise, they're getting rid of Gianluca Scamacca. They've got Antonio. They've got Danny Ings. Are those two going to be reliable for the 38-game season? Sorry, and also including Europa League football. So I think they definitely need another striker. Winger-wise, I'm happy with Bowen. I'll be happy with Benrahma. Pablo Fornals. There are good players in there. Defensively wise, Cresswell, another year older. You have to get a backup there, surely. Kufal, great player. The back line, they're looking good. They are looking at Harry Maguire, but I mean, I really like Naif Aguerd. Tilo Kehrer is already there. They still have Kazuma down there as well, and they've got Fabianski and Areola in goal. So realistically, they are a mid-table team. But I just think that if they don't get themselves another midfielder in the next few days or weeks maximum, they'll drop into that lower mid-table team for me. So let's see what happens. In 11th, I'm gonna go with Fulham. Expectations too high, maybe? I don't think so. When did they finish? Did they finish 10th last season? I think they want to replicate what they did. At least try to keep around the area, because if Fulham go and finish anywhere from 13th or 14th and lower, I would say that's a bad season for Fulham, because they've already established their first season back last season as a team that can push for the top 10. Now Marco Silva is staying, he's committed his future. Mitrovic looks like he's going to go. Willian looks like now he's going to go. Where are the goals coming from? I hope that they're linked to some centre-backs. Not centre-back, strikers, sorry. It looks like their centre-back Tosin is going to leave as well. So what's going to happen there? Personally, they've got a good squad if they can keep Alhinia as well. But if they lose him, which doesn't look likely, they will definitely finish, for me, minimally about 12th, 13th and lower. I think the expectation for Fulham is very high, but I think they definitely need more forward. Of course, they brought in Raul Jimenez from Wolves. I think that's a great signing, because you're taking a player away from a team that might be, rivaling you. So, I don't know, but I think that Fulham are probably going to be safe, and I think they're going to finish 11th. Three more teams, sorry. 10th, 9th, and 8th. 10th, Brentford. I think they will be fine. I think they're not going to go down. They're not going to be there. But the Ivan Toney replacement hasn't been there yet. Now Kevin Schade came in, but I'm not sure he's going to be the out-and-out number 9. He's a very versatile player, can play on the wings. But I look at their front line. They've got Johan Wissa, they've got Brian Burmo, but they don't have a number 9. So the number 9 is still needed. Midfield wise, very good. Defensively wise, very, very strong. Brentford, safe. They're safe. It's just where they finish in that higher mid-table zone. Are they going to finish 9th, 10th, 11th, or maybe 8th? Where are they going to be able to push next season? With Ivan Toney, they finished 9th, I want to say, last season. So where can they push on without Toney? For me, I reckon 10th. I think they will stay in and around the area, but I think that if you don't replace Toney, you're not going to suddenly crumble. I don't think they're going to crumble and finish 20th, but I think that they're not going to be able to improve to the next step that they want. So the last 2 spots, I've chosen a bit of a punchy one, because I've gone 9th. There's so many teams here, it's crazy. 9th, I've gone Brighton. I want Brighton to do very well. But McAllister's replacement. Now reports are saying that they're looking at Mohamed Kudus from Ajax. You know what? It's a great signing, but I'm still worried in the midfield because you got Kudus, yes. But he's not a centre midfielder. He's a attacking midfielder slash a right winger. Dahoud, yes. Milner's not going to play every match, so he's still another midfielder. Into attack, Mitoma, Ferguson, great. João Pedro, great. Danny Welbeck, great. Undav, great. Attack-wise, I'm fine. I'm looking at the centre midfield. They've brought in Igor from Fiorentina at left centre back. So they've replaced Levi Colwill. But you still a centre mid shot. But personally, 9th. 8th, everyone's going for Aston Villa. I'm going to go for Spurs. I don't think we can get too confident with Spurs just yet. Right. Hear me out. I know. They've got Ange Postecoglou. But, look. Son had an off season. Is he going to be able to recover? Kulusevski had a decent season. But when he was playing at his best with Son and Kane, he was one of the best right wingers in the world. He's going to get back to that level. If Kane goes, how are they going to replace him? Now they've got Richarlison, but reports suggest that they're looking at Taremi from Porto. So are they going to bring him in for about £30 million? Midfield, it's exciting. James Maddison, Yves Bissouma, and Rodrigo Bentancur in there as a trio for me. But the wingbacks, very attacking. Pedro Porro, Destiny Udogie, Ivan Perisic. You get the idea. They don't have a proper left back, right back. They've got wing backs. At the back, Mickey van der Ven has signed Christian Romero as well next to him, and Vicario in goal. I'm not saying that I'm not excited about this project. I'm just saying that if you ask me to compare Spurs as a team with their signings and compare Aston Villa where they were, including Moussa Diaby, Paul Torres and Yuri Tillemans, I'm sorry, but I'm going to go Aston Villa to get that Europa Conference League spot. I think they would just edge Spurs out. Because realistically, some people might have already watched Ange Postecoglou's Spurs in pre-season. But you can't judge his side until you see their side against Liverpool or Man City. Because if Ange Postecoglou goes to the Etihad or goes to Anfield and gets a good result, okay, I'll hold my hands up and say, you know what, they're going to get top 6, top 7. But as of now, after what happened last season, I think Unai Emery is a really, really convincing manager. And I just think that Villa will get higher. Now, I was tempted to put Brighton above Spurs, but I think it will be a bit of a... I really want to do this, though. I really want to swap Spurs and Brighton. I think 9th is a disrespect for Brighton, though. You know what? I reckon that Spurs will get 9th, and Brighton will get 8th. And Villa will get 7th. For me, I look at these 3 teams, I'm not so convinced with Brighton because they are midfielder or 2 away from getting there, especially when Moises Caicedo leaves. Because I don't think Brighton are gonna, collapse if they lose a couple of players. I think that they will remain at the area, but they're probably not gonna go into the top 5 again. Spurs, if they lose Kane, that's 30 goals lost. Are they gonna be able to get a player who's gonna score 30 goals? No. Taremi is a good player, but he's not going to score 30 Premier League goals. He's probably going to get 15 or 20 at most. So you're losing a bit of goals. And the partnership with Son, is Son going to be able to get 20 goals himself? Or is Kulusevski going to get 20 goals? Or is Richarlison going to get 15 goals? Where are the goals coming from for Spurs? Maybe defensively they're more solid, but going forward, if they sell Kane, I'm not so sure where the goals are coming from. Brighton, they are midfield away to being where they are last season and where they were last season. And Villa, with the 3 signings that they've made, being so impressive, Moussa Diaby, the most exciting one, I think it's hard to take away from these 2 here, just because Spurs have been in the Champions League final and Spurs have been in the top 4 before. I think if Spurs are just another club, you compare them, I think I will go with the same. So I'm not gonna go bias here. 5th and 6th. Whoa. It's hard. It's hard to pick. The top 4 was Man City, Arsenal, Man United, and Newcastle. So based on that, you would say, okay, Chelsea and Liverpool gone. For me, I'm going 6th, Chelsea. And this might sound like disrespectful, but I think they finished 12th last season, so to get 6th would be good. And 5th, Newcastle United. So for me, Newcastle United miss out on top 4. Let's start things off with Chelsea. Nicolas Jackson, exciting. If they bring Marcus Caicedo, exciting. The partnership of Levi Colwill, Exeter Disasi, Badiashile, Thiago Silva, 4 of them, great. V. James, Ben Chilwell, great wingbacks. They brought in Robert Sanchez to compete with Kepa, great. Midfield wise, Enzo and Caicedo, great. Attack, Nicolas Jackson, like I said, great. Mudryk, exciting. Madueke, exciting. Yes, they've got an exciting squad, and Kunku as well, who supposedly is injured for the next 2 weeks. But personally, I'm looking at it going, I compare the Chelsea squad to Newcastle. I'm more convinced by Newcastle. I don't think Chelsea have a better squad than Man United, Man City, Liverpool, or Arsenal. So if I compare, based on what I compare, Chelsea 6th, Newcastle 5th. They're just adding on to what they have. I think Tonali coming in is a good signing, but I don't see him or Bruno Guimaraes being defensive midfielders. Neither is Joelinton, so they need a defensive midfielder. Attack-wise, they haven't really done much. They brought in Harvey Barnes to replace Alain Saint-Maximin. Harvey Barnes, Isaac Almiron as a front three is good. Don't get me wrong, but it's not as strong as the front three of Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal, even Chelsea probably, and maybe Man United. That's a concern. Defensively, Dan Burn is good. Botman is one of the best centre backs in the league. Fabian Schär. But what happens if Fabian Schär and Botman, one of the two, get injured or suspended? What's going to happen? Trippier, he's getting competition now from Livramento. Pope, great. Yes, it's a great team. It's a great squad. But 5th. So it comes down to the 4. For me, 4th, Manchester United. I compare to the other 3, I don't see United getting 1st, 2nd, or even 3rd. They've got a good team. Mason Mount coming in is a good addition, but how is Bruno, Mount, and Casemiro going to work as a trio? Because yes, Mason Mount is a hard-working player, but his defensive numbers aren't the highest. And if you want to play as an 8, you have to do a lot of defensive job. And that's something that Christian Eriksen couldn't do. Because look, if you compare Eriksen and you compare Mount, they're pretty similar players. They're not far off. In fact, Eriksen was a 10 and he was played as an 8 and it didn't really work out. So Mason Mount, I think, is pretty similar. I think the goals are gonna, be a bit of a worry. Yes, they've got in Rasmus Højlund, and I'm excited to see him. Marcus Rashford is gonna be there as always. He's probably gonna get another 20 goals. Anthony, is he convincing? Is it gonna be finally his season? Jadon Sancho, can he rebound? Midfield, I think they're gonna rely on Casemiro a lot, and I think they're gonna rely on their defense a lot. Luke Shaw, Lisandro Martinez, Rafa Varane, and Diogo Dalot are the 4 that they're gonna be, count on a lot, and even Onana. These 5 are going to be their core of the team, the defense. Because if anything happens defensively, injuries or anything, they are screwed. So defensively, it's where they get the top four, and where they got the top four last season, based on their defense. So let's hope that Man United can have a strong defense, which leaves down to three: two in the Champions League and one champions. In third, I'm gonna go Liverpool. I'm gonna go Liverpool over Man United because I like the additions of McAllister and Szoboszlai, and I like the way that they got rid of Oxlade-Chamberlain, Milner, Henderson, Fabinho, Naby Keita, 5 midfielders who were basically not effective last season and were running out of steam. They've brought in 2 young players, they've got Bajcetic and they've got Bobby Clark, if he does stay. Curtis Jones is good, Harvey Elliott is good, they've loaned out Fabio Carvalho. But here's the thing, the attack is already stacked, they can score goals. But the midfield, can they provide the attack enough assists to get their goals? Can they, have a stable and balanced midfield? Because McAllister, Szoboszlai and Trent are not a balanced midfield as of now. So where's the balance going to come from? Is Romeo Lavia going to finally sign? Are they going to look at Calvin Phillips? Are they going to look at Florentino Luis from Benfica? There's so many options that they can go for. I hope that they get Romeo Lavia because I really like that player. And I think if there's anyone that's perfect for Liverpool, I believe there's Romeo Lavia. So if you can go and get Romeo Lavia, Szoboszlai, McAllister, with Trent at right back, and moving in as a diamond, if they can get that done, it's good. And essentially play a 3-4-3. But Robertson's not going to fit in that system, is he? Van Dijk, Konate, good. But the left back, there are reports that they're linked with Piero Hincapié from Bayer Leverkusen. Now he's the most completely versatile player in terms of left back, centre back, because he can play left back, he can play centre back, start him at left back, and then he'll play on the left centre back with Van Dijk and Konate. That's 3 at the back. Midfield wise, Trent moves in, you get a 3-4-3. Trent probably on the right of the midfield with McAllister, with Romeo Lavia, with Szoboszlai, and then with the front three of, depends what you play, Nunez, Salah, Gakpo, maybe Luis Diaz, maybe Jota. But I'm excited by that. If they can bring in Piero Hincapié and they can bring in Romeo Lavia, that is good depth. Really, really good depth. So let's see what happens. Second and first, the last two, I'm gonna go with Manchester. I'm gonna go Arsenal. I'm gonna go Man City. Man City champions again. Is that a surprise? No. Now, as I'm recording, the Community Shield final just gone by, and Arsenal won on penalties 4-1 after a 1-1 draw. And yes, Arsenal won that game against Man City, and yes, they won a trophy, but they won with an equalizer in that 101st minute. I'm sorry, but if that sounds anything convincing to you, no. They're throwing good signings. I think Julian Timber is a great addition, great versatile player. Kai Havertz is a good player to attack with Odegaard and Jesus. And Declan Rice is the mega marquee signing that will improve them to the next level. And I think everyone's writing off Man City. But remember, this time last year, Man City lost to Liverpool. Yeah. And what happened? Going into the season, Man City won the treble. So look, don't write off Man City just yet, because Man City always do this. They always maybe have a bit of a bad start, or have a bit of a bad crisis, a bit of a period where they're having a crisis. But you guess what? They're not going to not win it, because they're going to win it again, because somehow, somewhere, they're going to find it to win the Premier League. Whether they win the Champions League, we might do a prediction on that. But as of the Premier League, Man City, people are talking about, they lost a couple of big players. Riyad Mahrez has gone. Gundogan has gone. Yes, I agree. They are massive loss. Bernardo Silva is looking to leave. But if Man City go out there and they bring in a right winger, whoever that may be. Cole Palmer really impressed, but is he going to be relied upon for every game? Kovacic is not a Gundogan replacement, and I think they're losing goals based on Gundogan leaving. Defensively, I think it's the same. Kyle Walker might leave, but personally, what I want to see is probably Ake, Akanji, Diaz, Stones as a back four again, because Stones will move into midfield, you'll play three at the back, and then you might have Stones and Rodri as the defensive midfielders. Pushing forward, you might have Kovacic, but that was where Gundogan was key, because when he pushed forward, he gets goals and gets assists. Kovacic is not going to be that player. De Bruyne is going to be slightly ahead as well, and then it's basically a 3-2-2, and then the front line as well. But personally, I think Man City will do it. I think Man City will win it. Erling Haaland had a bit of a bad game last night when I'm recording, but I think he'll definitely bounce back. I think when Haaland signed, everyone was like, is he going to be able to do well in a depth? And guess what? He broke the Premier League goal scoring record. So that's that. Alvarez, hoping to see more of him. Jack Grealish, Phil Foden. They've got depth. They've got quality. They've got quality in certain areas and depth in certain areas, but they need more depth, especially on the right wing. But I don't think it's been a drastic loss in their team, and I don't think they're gonna finish anywhere below first. I think they will retain it. So that really. Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know what your predictions are down below. I hope you guys have enjoyed today's video. Hit the like button if you did. Subscribe to the channel if it's on already, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.